Welcome back to Twice Half That. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Brendan Fraser.
Poor guy. Hey, and before we get going, you will be hearing background noise. The window and fans are on. Windows open, fans are on. It's hot.
The windows are on and the fans are open. All right, Twice Half That. That's pretty much how the name came about. We've said it before, but you've heard us speak. We can't spochify too well. But today I want to talk about the Lacey Peterson case. I was watching not just one, but several true crime specials on it, and the Modesto PD are really bad at their job. They bungled that from the fucking start.
Yeah.
The prosecution was just, asinine. I'm not defending Scott. I'm not saying that he's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm saying due process needs to be done. If you're a detective, you literally really need to turn over every stone. A big part that, we were never told. And granted, this happened in 2002?
Two or three,
we would have been like ninth grade.
Yeah, it was freshman year. I remember.
And
that.
I remember hearing about it, and I'm all like, "Damn!" Like that.
Back when I would actually watch the news, because I throw it on in the morning when I was getting ready.
Yeah, it was just background news,
and it was local.
Yeah, it was local because it happened.
It happened in Modesto, which isn't that far away. It's Central Valley,
and the body was
found in San Francisco Bay.
Yeah, right off of the Berkeley Marina, and that. Just everything surrounding it. If you go from, the day that it happened, the morning that it happened, I'm not too familiar what happened, in the very early morning hours, but, Scott and Lacey were in their home. They were chilling. From what Scott said, they were watching Martha Stewart. And that's her favorite show. They watched it. There was something about custard, lemon custard or lemon meringue pie, and some other crap that he had mentioned, because he was like, we watched the show, and this is what was fucking said in the show. Then after, I got up, left, and went to his warehouse, picked up his boat, and then went fishing off in the Berkeley Marina, where he said he normally did, off some island, Brooks Island or some shit, I'm not sure. And, then he comes home and she's not there. He cleans up a little, showers, and then is like, where the fuck is she? Then calls in a missing person, and then that's when the cops show up. And then, if you're familiar with, or even if you're
and
not
at the time she was pregnant as well.
Yeah, she was 8 months pregnant.
Like, she was about to pop.
It was everybody, and it happened December 24th. Slow news day.
Eve?
Yeah. And, there's nothing going on. That happens. It's all like, all right, she disappeared and she's 8 months pregnant. Everybody's going to be like, oh shit, we got to find her.
Holidays, it brings it out of people too, like they're a little more.
Yeah. And then you have, where I think, and this is where, if you're not a body language expert who's been doing it for some time, we're lay, and even that science isn't that.
It's not
down to a scientific method, and it's more of, they will even tell you themselves, we're looking at ballpark. It's more indication as to that there's something there. Now, does that have to do with the case? We don't know. It's just there's something there because of what's, the level of stress that they're being put under now. That's a telltale sign that we should probably go down that road. And if it's a criminal, 9 times out of 10, it tends to lead to where, you want it, or not to where you want it to go, but, you get the information that you're looking for, because they kind of, crack. But it's because you are all like, oh, maybe that specific trail will lead to, the evidence we're looking for. And a lot of people with Scott, they were everybody took it upon themselves to judge him very early.
I do remember, like, really early, but he did nothing to help himself either.
No, and I'm not defending him. I'm just, if I'm coming from the defense, should we have him mentally, evaluated? Because grief is weird, and on top of that, you're being accused of the murder and the disappearance, or the disappearance then the murder. What emotions are going through your head?
Yeah.
Are you so conflicted that it's just your body's like overwhelmed? Shut that shit down. Shut the fuck down.
Well, then you also have people who maybe like dealing with essentially survivor's remorse, or if I had been there, if I hadn't gone fit, like had he.
Yes, if I would have just stood home, none of this would have happened. Not to mention, his family said,
and that would be assuming that he were innocent, not guilty.
Yes.
Obviously, if he's guilty, then that's not what's going through his head. But for an innocent person, like going down the road of what you're talking about, where stressors and having them evaluated it could be a situation where you're dealing with this stress of, if I would have just stayed home, this would have never happened.
Yeah. And he also, his parents said that he's a pretty stoic guy, so you're not going to see too much he's not going to show a lot of outward emotion. And, the way we grew up, I can't speak for Scott, but, it's, hey, man, you don't show too much outward emotion. You can show anger. You can show, being jovial. You could show being irritated. Don't you fucking show no tear. Don't you show no weakness in regards to sorrow, unless it's a group thing or, people know. And in that situation, yes, he probably should have. But, you can cry yourself the fuck out.
Yeah.
You
just don't have it. Like, it's just.
And you don't know what's going on in someone's head. You never really know. And sometimes when someone mentally breaks, all you will see is 1,000-yard stare and just a blank slate. So to judge him off of the way he was acting it's not good. Now what fucked him was him talking to Amber Fry and the conversations that they were having, and
then the fact that, like, he was with her publicly
4 times though. The defense was all like, they knew each other 6 weeks, had dated 4 times. They were not all that intimate.
No, I'm talking about just like after the disappearance, like being in public.
That's another thing, is where, in the tapes I heard it does kind of sound like they had started to lightweight drift away from each other. That's one avenue that you could take that as. You could also take it as he knew he was going to kill her or she was going to die. Now, if that's the case, there is forensic evidence that could be pulled from the scene. Chris Watts happened only 4 years
4 or
after
5 years
after what Peterson did.
No, it was more than that, because she was posting on Facebook. It was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Damn, I feel. Well, whatever.
It was like 16, 17, 18, something like that.
So,
and what's funny is you bring that up is just the other day I was watching a documentary on the Chris Watts situation with my lady, and I was like, God, this really fucking sounds so close to the Scott Peterson situation. And the Chris Watts one fucking, and Scott Peterson too, because she was pregnant, but it's like, you kill your wife. First off, if you've grown apart, just part. It's really not that difficult, and just like, it's run its course. People do change over a course of time. So if you've been together for 10,
Technically,
15 years,
the cells that comprise your body
is it like
now,
7 years?
Yep, are not the same cells that you had 7 years ago.
So you're literally a completely different person from 7 years ago.
Legit.
Like completely.
On a cellular level.
Yeah. So, and personalities change. Things change. It happens. Just part ways. Like, you don't need to go the route of, I'm going to fucking kill her because I want to be with her over there. Or I just want to be free of this relationship. Just part ways. And then to be able to be able to do that is one level. And then to be able to kill your own children.
Yeah, that's like, holy shit.
For those of you who don't know the Chris Watts situation, he had 2 young children. I think they were like
7 and 5.
Was it 7 or 6 and
that.
2, 6 and 3 or something like they were young children,
babies.
2 young children, and so he not only killed his wife, but his 2 young children.
Strangled them.
Like,
Then wrapped their bodies up and threw them in a water tank or buried them.
Like that one, like as a father, that one just
pisses you off.
Yeah.
You know, I hope he gets the shit beat out of him.
like he deserves every terrible thing that happens to him until his life is fucking leached out of
distorted and just, you know, boyfriend out. You know what I mean? Just passed along. He's a scumbag. And getting back to Scott, you know, the big difference between, you know, Chris Watts and Scott Peterson is Chris Watts was clearly fucking guilty. And you even during the interrogation, he kept, and this is something that, you know, killers will or murderers will do, especially if they're real close to the person, is I'm not going to say like, man, yeah, me and Anthony were real close. Like, yeah, me and him, you know, we were real close, and we would try and put a real big distance between me and him as a person. There's going to be a lot of distance. We're trying to get around saying their name, trying to get around seeing them as a person. And, you know, a lot of it...
Yeah, it would be more we and yeah
and a lot of it tends to
naming
be...
the actual name.
Yeah, if he died and I just happened to be there, I kind of talk about him in the present tense. If he died while I was there and it's like under nefarious means, I'm kind of going to use that nigga in the past tense because I've already come to the conclusion he's gone. I know, I made sure that the motherfucker was gone. And there's certain little things, and with him, you hear in the interrogation, you know, and everything, it's just like, you know, one, the Modesto PD did not do they did a piss poor job. And we're just like, this is our guy. It didn't really try and do anything to get it out of him. They were just like, this is our guy.
It was one of those situations where they've predetermined who the guilty party is.
And that's not good. Even if you so happened to be right,
and even if he is, and even if he is guilty, even if he did it, you still have to go through the entire investigation and gather all the evidence instead of just being like, I know he did it.
Well, and during the trial, there's three, and this is what 3 big things that makes me really, really want them to retry the entire thing. Actually 4.
Make it 6.
The strawberry shortcake. There's a juror they named Strawberry Shortcake. They bring her on, and she had a case against somebody, and that's one of the qualifiers. Like, have you ever, you know, been a witness or a defendant or prosecuted against in a case like this? Not to the, you know, scale, but like to this event. She said no, she did. And there was several other things, and then you just hear her. I mean, in all honesty, you know, you sounded ignorant as fuck the second you came on there. Then you get there, and like within 9 hours, they're all like, yup, he did it. And it's all like, that was pretty fucking quick. It is, you know, a pretty important case, not to mention they kicked one juror off because this man, mind you, he is a doctor and a lawyer. And he said, no, we have to look at the facts. You keep getting drawn in to the emotion of the case. Like, yes, there's a lot of emotion in this case, but what evidence do they have against this guy?
Yeah.
They said he dumped her body out. When they found the body, they found that it was just a torso, first off. The stomach was gone. The baby was out. They found the baby first with twine wrapped around its neck and tape to its face. That's very important because that then means the baby was, exhumed from the body, and then she was, they were separated and then disposed of separately. How could he have done that with no blood being found anywhere in his truck, anywhere on his boat, anywhere in his fucking warehouse, and nowhere at his home? And the timetable given is a very, very small fucking window. And they went through his whole home one time. And this is where it doesn't help him, but you can understand. And then they asked to search his home the second time. He met them. He answered the door. He was going to say yes, but his dad, and honestly, you should always do this, rightfully so. They had a warrant, though. He was all like, well, I'd like a lawyer to see it first because you already came here.
Yeah.
You looked through everything. You were here for quite some fucking time. What more do you need to look at? I'm totally open to it, but, at that point, you really do have to understand they're not going after the truth. They're going after someone to put in jail. That doesn't necessarily, or prison. That doesn't necessarily mean it has to be the actual perpetrator of the crime,
which has happened numerous times. And it's just like with paternity cases and child support cases, stuff like that. I don't care. I don't care who the father is. Someone has to pay for it. I don't care who the killer is. Somebody has to pay for it. You're in my line of sight right now. It's you.
And so that's where you go. And him not crying when they got the Amber Heard, when they're listening in on his conversations with Amber Fry, that shit didn't help. The media really didn't help because his dad and other people, other journalists who were all like, yeah, he kind of got railroaded because you see him at the vigil. He's in the back, doesn't say anything. It's just sad as shit. And the one
that
time
goes like people handle grief differently.
Yes, and the fact that he didn't come forward and say anything, automatically people are like, he did it. Why would you not speak at the vigil? Why would you? It's like people handle shit differently, man. You don't know this guy. Maybe he doesn't want to be caught seeing blubbering on fucking TV. You don't know him. That was a different time. That was right before, honestly, this very annoying level of narcissistic vanity has taken over to the point where, oh no, I need to be seen. Mind you, I'm saying this fucking on a podcast that's visual. I get it. But,
we're not sitting here fucking, we're not sitting there taking pictures and shit.
You don't see me. I'm on no social media platform other than this, which you could kind of count as it, but this is more creative. This isn't fucking, this isn't real good. It's very low social currency because it's the actual creativity. It's not some, fucking loser who's trying to show that they're keeping up with the Joneses. Look at my Bugatti. How do you got a Bugatti? You're a low-end fucking corporate worker bee. Yeah. You don't have... Quit playing. Like, why? Why
I've
do you
seen
want to
so
be
many
seen?
clips of people like taking pictures of car and then the owner coming up like, what are you doing?
Or posting pictures of, look at my Prada bag, look at my Gucci bag. It's all like, you're literally, we already went through this, but it's a waste of fucking time and your money. You can be putting that towards, actually doing something.
On that one, I saw a clip of like a video of someone doing shit like, going around just asking people, I don't know if it was like Rodeo Drive or some shit like that.
Do you want a Fanta?
Fanta. And like, outside of these high priced fucking retail stores, asking people stuff. And this one chick had I don't remember which one it was, maybe Versace or Gucci, one of those ones, whatever. It doesn't
Versace?
matter. Vespucci.
Vespucci Beach.
But she's, it says blah, 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 and it's, it's a fucking $5,000 bag or something. And she's like, oh, no, my dad's getting it for me for a graduation present. So instead of your dad helping you maybe with the down payment on a house, you'd rather get a $5,000 bag.
Well, she's probably going to get that.
She's probably going to get,
if that motherfucker could spend $5,000
but
on a purse.
On a purse.
On a fucking purse.
That's what you want for your graduation present, a $5,000 bag.
Something that, now, if this was one of those Italian suits that are made, it's like, nah, nigga, it's not my name. I make the fucking suit.
Yeah.
Not him, not
like you
her.
are going to a tailor and they are,
I will
a suit maker. That's completely different because
or
that
a
is
shoemaker or a dressmaker.
Like
you want to go to Vera Wang and have Vera literally be like
have
this is what
Vera make it.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's worth it.
If you're getting handmade, not these bags that are being sold in the store that there's 40 of them right there on the rack, the same ones, and they're all made in a factory that cost the company $1.50 to make, and they're charging you $3,000. Like, not that. We're talking about handmade. Like the fabric for it is all hand woven, and the suit is. They literally take your measurements, go up to the piece of fabric, and make it.
That.
Oh, I'm dropping on that. I'll drop on
that's
that.
That's actual skill.
Yeah, I'll break some bread on that.
Shit.
That is worth because you're paying for the skillman or the skillship of it. Like
you're paying for the skillman.
The skillman. That's my new word.
I'm not a technician. I'm a skillman. Fuck.
A master of the custodial arts.
Like those are called sanitation engineers. Bitch, he's a janitor. It's like, all right, well, if I'm that, engineers make a lot of money. So, hey, and just to let everybody know, American engineers are kind of shit around the world now. And that's all because of this dumbass way of doing, the way they do everything in this country is set up to benefit a few people in the short term. And then they're all like, all right, well, we exhausted that. Now let's waste another fucking resource. All right, now we wasted that. Now let's waste another fucking resource. All right, they don't believe in having anything sustainable. The American businessman, he's a wasteful douchebag piece of shit. And do not misunderstand being a small business owner and being Jimmy fucking Buffett.
Yeah.
These punk ass hedge funds that bet against your business, or bet that your business is gonna fail instead of trying to be like, let's make sure that shit, can survive as long as it can. And if the market says it's time to die, then it's time to die. It's a whole nother thing to have all these people at the top be like, nah, I'll make more money if that nigga drowns, and then turn around. If I'm fucking broke, who am I gonna turn to? The government. I'm the one who's been paying into those taxes. You haven't, yet you keep like a hungry hippo absorbing all these motherfucking marbles and then turn around and be like, why do you need help? Why do you need help? It's like, well, you didn't need to gobble that shit up. The name of the game is to keep money circulating in the system. It's hard to do that when Walmart and all these mega corporations take my money and then go and hide it in another motherfucking country and then look at me and be like...
it's kind of the same thought process of the people that are pissed off about the student loan forgiveness.
Oh, those are just dumb fucking people.
But had no... And first off, they're not forgiving an entire loan.
No.
It's $10,000 or $20,000 depending on if you got a Pell Grant. All right, so it's not a massive amount. I mean, it's still a nice chunk for someone who doesn't make a lot of money. But you didn't have a problem when Walmart, which you still shop at, took all this money when the
PPE,
pandemic had.
Yeah, they didn't a lot of businesses took it.
A lot of major corporations took PPE that was meant for small businesses. Like billions of dollars worth of money that was supposed to go to small businesses because that is truly the backbone of the American economy. And these major corporations that should have more than enough money in the coffers especially since a lot of these ones
have been in the black for like a decade plus. How the fuck do you not have money in your coffers? And then you're going to turn to the government, who you don't fucking pay taxes to, or very little, and then you're like, I need help. You don't believe in welfare, yet you're the first motherfucker standing there. I'll give you $3 if you give me 12. And then they're like, sure, this isn't my money. This is fucking everybody else's money. There you go.
Yep.
And that's the fucking problem. And that's the problem with lobbyists.
What a lot of these people are worried about. Not the person who is fucking scraping by that now gets $10,000 because these predatory lenders that are targeting 17, 18, 19-year-olds.
With stupid fucking interest. One of the stories I read, homegirl paid $28K towards her student loan. $26K went to interest. How the fuck are you supposed to dig your way out of that? And that goes to show you why Republicans are so mad at that debt being forgiven. Because the more that the actual number that they borrowed gets taken away from, the less they're gonna be indebted to these fucking people who honestly don't believe in work. And trust me, it's coming to the United States. We're getting to the point where the Chinese youth are getting to. So hold on. You mean to tell me that if I work hard, dedicate myself, and, show perseverance, I should be able to make it out on top? That's the American... Actually, that's something that it's fucking known throughout all fucking human history.
Yeah, but that's what the American dream is.
That's what we really sold, and it took off, around the world because, marketing. And the Chinese youth are like, hold on, bro, I'm doing all this shit, and you're just building shit that'll crumble around me. You're building shit that's going to poison me. Or if the economy fails, you're just going to come up, go into my bank account and be like, thanks, bitch, and then walk out. It's like, you know what?
That's if they don't fucking take you and your family and take your organs.
And they're still working extremely hard, and at the end of the day, if you have nothing to show for it, you're sitting there waiting. So I'm working my way to essentially sitting on the bench, drinking a beer, trying to find something to, eat every day because I'm broke. Why the fuck don't I do that now? I'm literally one step above that, but I'm adding 12 hours of work in where that makes someone else money. It's like, you people are, and the communism kind of stopped the workers' revolution because it was, hijacked by people like Stalin, people like Mao, who aren't really for the people. They're for me being in charge and you shutting the fuck up and doing as I say.
Yep.
And I will benefit. If I'm successful, then the country's successful. If you're, not having a good time, that's on you, bitch. Die, and it'll be over. Or before you die, go make me some money.
Yeah.
And then go die.
And if you need help with that, I'll help you.
And that actually plays into what happened with fucking Peterson. Because at the rally where they take the picture of him smiling, he's smiling at a fucking child. A child he lightweight knew that they both, had said something to lighten the mood of the moment. And that's the picture that they take. And that's where you got to be careful with narratives. Remember, you got to believe half of what you see and fucking even less of what you hear. Because it's real easy to lie to us nowadays. We've been pre-programmed to believe
what happens on a daily
shit.
On social media.
Look at the news. Look at Fox News. All these old motherfucking people, majority of them are of a certain fucking ilk, and they believe whatever the fuck these pundits say.
Tucker Carlson,
as
fucking
long as
Ben
they
Shapiro,
have,
all these motherfuckers. And hey. Those of you, if you are partaking in that, that's not to say that CNN and all these MSNBC, all these other ones are any better.
It's all of them.
It's all of them.
It's all Fox News and CNN is very blatant. It's very blatant.
They know who their target audience is, and they play it.
Hardcore. You gotta, if you want news, if you want real news and you're American, all our news has been bought and paid for. You're not gonna get, you're purposefully not getting world news or anything other than what they want to tell us, because that's how you keep people pacified. That's not what the fuck this country's about, and it's a big problem because
the problem is that's what it has become about at the top.
Yeah, it's all about money and narrative, and it's real easy. You see it all the time. That's why I can't watch the NFL. I can't really watch the NBA anymore. Well, I never really did because it always, first off, there's way too much shit that's geared towards protecting, one fucking player. Even though you will have other superstars, if that superstar isn't necessarily in the market or they tend to be going up head to head against their guy, they're going to try and play it down, the way they did KD to LeBron, Steph to LeBron, any other, Duncan to LeBron, Wade to LeBron. Don't get me wrong, LeBron is a great player, but if you go back and you look, the league manufactured making sure that he would be who the fuck he is today. They didn't go out of their way for anybody else. They didn't do that for KG.
No.
You really couldn't, because I love you, KG, but dude, you are, when you speak, I love you, but it just comes off ignorant as fuck.
Like, bro,
it's hard for me to see.
Like, he's a good example of that, because he likes to talk about, coming from nothing, this and, all those things, and then talking about and acting as if he's, out the hood. But it's like, bro, you've been something longer than you weren't.
Yes, you've been out of the hood a long time.
Like, based on your age now, you came out in high school, so at 17, 18 years old, you have been something. You have been making millions of dollars more than half of your life. Not knocking that, but don't try and act as if you're not. It's not to say don't embrace your past, in the sense of acknowledging I came from nothing, I was fortunate enough to get out of it, and wanting to help people. But like, you walk around and act like you're from the streets when you haven't been in the streets for 30 years.
A very long time. And not to mention,
and chances are you probably weren't in the streets then, because a lot of OGs understand they got to play out.
Is good. Yeah, you got to play. You got to play. Don't be out.
And they make sure you ain't in the streets. You can
make a little bit of bread, but we ain't gonna let you be out here like that.
Yeah.
We can't have you. We want to see you get there.
Like, any OG worth their weight, that's the way they act.
Yeah, they like to see you do good. They ain't trying to.
They don't want to see you in the street. Yeah.
And if you look at 50 Cent and Dr. Dre and Ice Cube, Ice-T, a lot of them, they still have their roots, but they also grew the fuck up. They don't sound fucking like some little
Ice-T plays a cop on TV.
Well, the thing that kills me is, and I do appreciate, what Brother Jomo did teach
school.
us, when I was a kid, was having that self-respect, and especially, teaching us and more. I mean, I do, last names, I'm not gonna give my last name. I do come from, African stock. A part of my blood is that Latin and black. And, growing up, a lot of
other shit mixed in.
Yeah, and a lot of other shit. I'm American. I'm a mutt. There's a gang of shit in there. Sicilian, Italian, which is Sicilian's Italian. That's all the same shit. French. There's something else. There's Spaniard, obviously, fucking Mexican, Puerto Rican, and other bull. I'm American.
And most of us are.
Yeah, we're mixed.
I've considered myself a mutt for a long time, and then I did a DNA test, and I'm like, I'm a mutt.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. Like, at this point, you're gonna have a lot of interbreeding. It's just,
I mean, that's kind of the American way.
What we've done it so much. Exotic is no longer a term we use for people.
Yeah.
Exotic is more, they're gonna put on some fucking lingerie. It doesn't mean white dude sleeping with Oriental. are fucking, Spaniards
It's like
sleeping
really
with anything.
in anything and everything that moves.
Ooh, that pig's looking a little... Dude, I swear to God.
Well, it's like, it's gotten to the point where exotic isn't like someone from one region. It's like, oh, that is an interesting mix.
Yeah, it's more moved towards the tantric, meaning of a spectrum, I should say, where it means kind of taboo shit, light taboo, not even anymore. Doing it in the butt ain't even fucking light taboo anymore.
Yeah.
Oral ain't even light taboo. Shit play ain't even light taboo anymore.
No, that's still heavy taboo.
And that fucked me up. Go to 5th grade looking up, just normal class projects, and what came up? It was like City Hall and Shit City came up. No, man.
Scarred for life.
Yeah, the internet in the fucking late 90s. That was...
I am very lucky that I didn't have that one happen to me. I accidentally went to whitehouse.com one time.
Not .gov.
Because, fuck it, I think it was middle school, and so it's like, here's like .com. I didn't know what the fuck it was, and then it popped up, I was like,
whoa!
And then you instantly, you do the look around like, am I about to get in trouble?
Yeah,
like, what is going on?
And normally the teacher would just be like, click, 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 fucking pop-ups, click, go there, click, 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 click. All right, you know what? Pick up the phone.
And what's funny is, like, in schools, there's firewalls, so all this stuff is blocked. But for whatever reason, whitehouse.com was not firewalled. And I guarantee you, we weren't the only motherfuckers that had that happen to accidentally. And then there were some that did it on purpose. I know that for a fact. But I know we weren't the only ones to accidentally stumble upon that. How did that not get brought up?
Oh, it did. They were like, listen, what I do at that elementary school when everyone is gone, it's like, wait, what'd you say? Huh? What? Nothing. I'm a priest now. No.
Oh, man, that's another one. The chaplain.
Oh, from Dublin?
From Dublin.
Oh, yeah, Dublin.
I was reading that story. I didn't finish reading the story because you started. So, go figure. We're going on a tangent.
All right, what else is new?
So, locally here again, Dublin, California, there's a women's federal prison. There's a couple federal prisons there. But there's a women's one because there's Santa Rita, which is men. And then there's a women's federal prison there. There's a chaplain and 6 correction officers, or is it 6 including the chaplain? It was 5 or 6 guys, 6 or 7,
and the warden have been charged with having sex with incarcerated women on numerous occasions. And I don't mean anything like you're walking by and it's months and months of homegirl legit like, nigga, I've been behind these bars for about 8 years now. I need a shaft. I don't care if it's just in my hand. You're gonna get... Oh, what? Hold on. I gotta sweet talk them. And then you finally get your walls whittled down and it's consensual. Bad. Illegal. Shouldn't happen. We're human. I can understand it. You gotta go, bro.
Yeah, that's more of a lapse of judgment.
But to legit just rape them?
Yeah, and the chaplain would use Bible verses and stuff to convince them to have sex.
He goes, man, wouldn't it be cool if the commissary sold sex toys to a female in his office? Mind you, alone?
He's a chaplain, meaning he is a religious individual, like as in priest.
He is, man. You really better hope that your religion isn't real, because that is one vengeful nigga, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna call that other dude downstairs and be Lucifer, and he goes, I already know, he's already on the list.
I got you, Pops.
Once Peter sends him down here, I got him, bro. What do you want? The Rock? You want what's it gonna? Oh no, the Rack.
Yeah, it was like the Rock.
I was thinking of Sisyphus having him push the rock up.
Yeah, I figured that's where you were going with it, but yeah.
The Rack. Or the other one getting angel wings, that's the Viking one. Mm-hmm. They peel your skin
you can just go
from
with Little
your
Nickies
scapula.
with Hitler. The pineapple ass.
Oh, yeah, you could
every
do that.
day.
You could do that. or the pear. You put the pear in there, and then you put it in. It's supposed to be your mouth, but you can do it for the anus. You put it in, and then you slowly open it, and it opens wider. And it's a little turn thing. It looks like a little butt plug. It can just totally shatter. It's meant to shatter someone's jaw. But you can blow out an O-ring with that.
But yeah, he ended up getting 7 years.
The max guideline was 3, and the judge was like, not happening.
No.
7.
And his defense was trying to get 2. The prosecution was trying to get 10.
I would have given him 10. I would have given him 15, because I would have been like, you're literally using your position to hurt women who already are vulnerable on multiple levels.
One of the cases, or one of the women, confided in him how she had been sexually assaulted prior in life, and all. And then his defense wants to use, well, he was an army chaplain as well, and he's dealing with PTSD and stuff like that, and what is it? Some sort of depression, and
Oh, so rape is how you cure that? I didn't know that.
And he struggles with impulse control.
So
your defense is he struggles with knowing not to do it.
It's like, so he's aware that he shouldn't do it. It's like, 15 years. I would have been like, go, 15 years.
Yep.
They gave I think it was the, not Parkland, the theater shooting, the Batman theater shooting. That They gave him 30,000 years. Why? What the fuck does that do? What does that do? I'd just be like, okay, life. What the fuck? Am I gonna live 30,000 years? What the fuck are you gonna do?
You just give him multiple life counts. That's it.
No. You know what we do? You torture that motherfucker. You literally just be like, all right, you got a life sentence. Then when he goes, and people like that, you treat them. I mean, they do. They get thrown in solitary for a really long time. Prisons are really fucked up. But the problem is, the people that earn it never really get it.
Yeah.
And that's the fucking problem. It's always
it kills me. And I'm pretty sure we've talked about it before on here at some point, but how individuals that commit rape or various sexual crimes, their punishment is nothing more than a slap on the wrist in comparison to other people, like other crimes. And that is one of the few crimes where you really can't come up with an excuse for.
That's why
like killing someone. You could come up with an excuse. It doesn't make it right, but you can come up with an excuse.
Oh, I could totally get behind it not being right, but it's all like, I would have killed him too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you could come up with an excuse and understand why it happened. Theft, various, fraud even. Like, there's things you can do, or there's crimes that you can come up with an excuse for. Sexual crimes are not in that category.
And the honestly, if anybody...
And I'm not talking about someone who says something slightly inappropriate,
No, I mean action. There was legit action.
And when I say slightly inappropriate, I don't mean getting very explicit and saying what you want to do to someone. I mean, you let something slip.
Kind of like fucking what Peter Gunn said. Something about making one of the jokes that they kept, putting up there was he said something about effing his little boy pussy or some shit like that, and he said it in a weird way where it was just like, what the fuck are you talking about, nigga? And there's a couple other things that dude has done and said that are a little,
and it doesn't make those things
me like what's up with you, homeboy? But
but it's more like you say a joke in bad taste, or you compliment someone, but it's like you kind of make it uncomfortable. That's not the same level, but you acknowledge and you go, I'm sorry, and you leave the situation, and you don't repeatedly do it.
Because you could say a bad joke.
Yeah,
it could be like, dude, come on now.
That was in bad taste, or
that didn't. Again, Peter Gunn. Like, come on, dude.
You compliment as a man.
From me.
We compliment a female, but it's like the way you do it kind of makes them a little uncomfortable. Like,
hey, bitch, you got nice cans. Like, yeah. that's a little aggressive. Like, dude, you pull it back.
And not even going to that length, but like you could do it in a way where it's like they don't feel comfortable. That doesn't put you on the
at them across the street. That's a big one. That's one that chicks tend to not like. And then calling them a fucking bitch for ignoring you.
That's always been one of my favorite ones, where like a dude's hollering at a chick hard, and then she's kind of like putting off, and then finally says, "I'm not into it." Man, you ain't shit anyway, bitch. Yeah. It's like, how are you gonna say you ain't shit anyway when you were literally just expelling an immense amount of energy trying to get with that individual?
You just picked up your phone, emergency called someone who does fucking the flight letters, had him come over pronto and be like, "Hey, chick in the red dress."
Skywriting.
Yes, skywriting. "Hey, chick in the red dress, look to your right." "Oh shit, I mean your left." "Wait, you don't like me? Fuck you then, bitch."
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck?
Dude,
like, bro,
settle down.
It's okay. It's okay.
You took your shot, it didn't land. It's like, all right, well, find the next one.
I mean, most guys and women have put their shot out there, gotten shot down at some point in their life.
It's a numbers game.
Hey, move on. It ain't that big a deal.
Like, I forgot, some comedian said he knew a dude who would go into a bar, he'd, get 2 shots, and then he'd proceed, this is when he wanted to get laid, to just walk around the bar, asking, "What's up, how you doing? You want to go get a table talk and then go get laid?" And no. Doesn't sound like a bad idea. Let's get nachos first. And so, like, oh shit. He's being blunt about it. I ain't trying to waste your time. This is what I'm here for. This is what I'm trying to do. You're not trying to do that. All right, well, hope I'll catch you next time when I'm not in this mood. All right, see you later, nigga, bye. And then off to the next one. That's how you do it. It's a numbers game, dude. And if you're that hard up, there are women who will be like, "How much bread you got?" And I'm pretty sure they're not, there's a lot of them now due to OnlyFans and some of this other shit.
Yeah.
Just the internet in general. The price of
really,
drops.
that's really true though. Like internet in general, it's not even a specific thing. It's internet in general. It's made it easier.
Just like to fuck, so they'll be like, "What? I'll charge you $50 to blow you real quick, and then just go fuck off."
And that's where like these incels and shit. It's like,
yeah, that's why I'm like, you are you are involuntarily celibate because that was coined by a female.
Really?
Yeah, she was talking about herself.
Really?
In a certain, and it was more in an introspective, not a fucking damaged way. It was more like, oh man, fuck. And it's all like, no one is. Just don't be a dick. Get your body right. You don't need to be, a fucking fitness star. Just work out a little bit. Fat eats more energy. Muscle eats more energy than fat. Fat is just stored energy. So just lift a little weights, build a little muscle mass. It'll help eat some of that fat.
Well, and a lot of that too. Like beyond just doing it for that simple fact.
Take up a cactus. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
A lot of it too, though, is when you start getting into a little bit better shape and you start getting more confident. You feel better in your own skin, and that fucking protrudes out. Like people pick up on it when you're walking around with a little more confidence, or you're walking around shoulders down, kind of.
And the confidence, it's not something that, how do I put this? It's not something that you actively portray. It is something that radiates from you.
Yes.
When you feel good, it's just all like, oh, they're feeling good, they're moving about. The energy that they're feeling good in their body. That means, and when you're feeling good, that means because of the working out, your knees generally hurted because hurted. It's a real thing. I herded the sheep.
Thank you, SFUSD.
Yes. Like your anterior tib, which is this muscle that runs on the outside of your
shin.
That muscle, when that gets tight, that can mess with your walk, and that can mess with you dorsal flexing your foot.
Yeah.
So that can make it to where it's uncomfortable to walk. You're a lot bigger, so your quads and your hammies can't really take lifting you, so you're sitting there and then your lower back hurts because your hammies are so tight that they're starting to pull on your pelvis. You're supposed to have a slight anterior tilt, just the front of your body, to your hips. When your hamstrings get tight, they start to pull, and that anterior tilt starts to level out, which then all that weight is supposed to be dissipated in a certain way. Now it isn't, because you're totally fucking up your alignment.
And now you feel every ounce of that weight.
Every bit of that. And then with that, it's just going to creep up your back, into your mid-back, into your shoulders. And if you're a chick, I don't know if you're aware of this, but you have tits. And with tits, they tend to sit here, which then pull down, which all that tends to be right here in the
right in the lower back.
So you need to do a lot of stretching. Your lats, stretch that. You'd be surprised in working out, by moving those muscles, you manually pump blood into the area. And you're breaking down some of the adhesions that have formed, put scar tissue on them. Sometimes it makes it worse. That's why you go and do massage, and you really should, like, in all honesty, if you sit at the computer a lot, you should go see a physical trainer. You can see a personal trainer, but I would go see a physical one, because they will actually sit there, look at what the fuck is going on,
and see,
be like, this exercise, that exercise, and then go get a massage, because they know that you have to strengthen, the areas that are weak, because our body, you have major muscle groups and minor muscle groups, and if the way you're designed, this is more, developed than that, that's going to cause problems within your shoulders. If your pec is more developed than your rhomboid, then the pec is going to pull this motherfucker forward. And if you work at a computer a lot, every couple minutes, just do this.
When I was doing massage, I would tell people, like, especially when I was working at the airport and stuff, so we'd see people that were traveling for business. It's like, you sit in front of a desk all day. Yeah. Set an alarm on your phone and stand up at least once every hour for 2-3 minutes and just kind of move around. Get a little motion in there. Like, you need to do that.
Have the monitor up just enough to where your chin
so you're not looking down
pointed,
or even straight. Like, you want to have a little up tilt.
It'll help, trust me, because sometimes when you're very, very annoyed, it can be back pain, and you're not aware of it. You're just all
just enough to where it's there,
and it's enough to affect your mood. I worked on a chick at the hospital. All her coworkers were like, "You need to massage her." They kept trying to get her in there. She was like, "No." I seen her. I came out. I was like, "Hey, come in." She said, "In a minute." Like, damn, okay. And then she came in, she was like, "Sorry for earlier." It's like,
are you?
Within like 5 minutes, she sat on the massage chair. I literally barely did anything. Compressions, all you gotta do, lean in. That shit'll help.
It's like kneading bread.
Yeah. It's like you're playing with dough.
Not bread.
Yeah. Dough. Fucking bread works too. You could do it to a loaf. Fuck that loaf up.
Man.
Honestly, it will help you with, not squashing it. You don't have to go super fucking deep. Just enough to move the muscle around. Pump some blood into it.
Because really, that's a big part of repairing any kind of injury is getting more blood flow.
That's why I was watching a thing on burns, and technically when you get a burn, there is no blood vessels going to the skin. It doesn't have its own blood supply. It's there, and it gets its blood supply from the epidermis, which is the top, gets its blood supply from the dermis, which is underneath, and it's basically just spray blood on the fucking bottom of it, which is why when you get bruising, it's fucking discolored. It's shit getting shot in there to help repair stuff. And forgot where I was going with that.
Muscle
started
repairs.
getting-
Burn repair.
oh yeah, and the burn, and that's how that happens. So your skin, it's very, very malleable. It works with a lot of shit, and getting blood in there fucking definitely does help repair. Or if it's not so much damaged, it just helps because, you know, if you have a hose and you just slightly, or you step on it, slightly kinking it, you know, you could see the after effects at the end of the hose. It's essentially the same thing with your body and arteries, veins, and fucking, the other one, what the fuck is the other one? The lymphatic system.
Oh,
you know, you need to fucking move and pump and get that, you know, get the lymphatic system moving
which
the
moves
waste,
the blood back towards the heart
and then helps
to pump it.
Yeah,
That's the cycle.
and stretching all
Because the heart just pumps the blood out.
Yeah,
The lymphatic system brings it back, and that's where you get the cycle. So just by doing this, you're activating your lymph nodes, your lymphatic system. You know, it's based on your muscular movement and gravity. So that's why if you're just sitting there with your arms down, your hands kind of start to swell up a little bit.
all that blood's
just sitting in there. Like I can feel it in my hands right now just doing this.
and with poor circulation,
Your feet will do it, your ankles, like you start hitting spots. That's why it's important to just get a little movement, and that's why it's important to, if you work at a desk or anything where you're stationary.
start doing Tai Chi. Tai Chi. Really, it helps. It's that slow movement. It's forcing your muscles to work in a different way rather than just bam. You know, they're moving a lot slower, and the heart is now pumping in a lot calmer way to a lot steady. And meditation does help with mental health.
That's true. And that's not just some new age bullshit. There's studies.
That's thousands and thousands of years of humans knowing shit. It's just modern medicine. You know, again, we just started coming into the modern age, so we tend to get addicted to the technology that we're using. Then it becomes commonplace, and we're able to
just like with medication, stuff like that. We get, you know, and when I say addicted, I don't mean we get addicted the way that, you know, we think of when you take medication, which does happen.
It becomes a tendency that we lean on.
We go toward, exactly. We lean on medicating over actually treating,
and you're starting.
And that's really big in the U.S. medical system. In Western medical is throwing shit at it instead of treating the problem.
Like, I totally believe Eastern medicine works to an extent. Western medicine works to an extent. You know,
and that's where having both of them,
it works out immensely. Like what Uncle Ben told me, because he was an intake guy when he was in China at one of the hospitals. I love this fucking concept. This is a genius concept. People come in, and he basically is diagnosing, you know, through not through just looking at people and doing slight, you know, exams, asking them questions. No, you need to see a Western doctor. What are you going through? Oh, okay, we need to placebo you out. You know, do some stuff. You go over there and see that guy. You know, and then they see him. And
well, it's like you look at things. You look at like you know, be it Eastern medicine, be it like Native American, like the medicine men and things like that. Like they were able to treat a lot of things using 100% natural items. They didn't have access to any of the medication, even in, you know, Europe at that time.
No, they had other.
They were using plants. They were using and it's not to say that those methodologies will be able to treat everything. That's why using them using both of them together,
we're losing out on a lot of tools by not including them.
By going 100% either way, you're losing out on a lot of tools.
Yeah, you have to. It has to be the way, you know, honestly, our educational system needs to work, where, you know, we need scholars. We need somebody who all they do is
they're a professional student. They're a professional student.
Randall Carlson, he's somebody that is immensely important to, you know, the field of science, because he was He was a geologist. No, he studied to be a geologist. He was originally something else. I forget what it was. But he started getting interested in the Great Flood myth. And he goes, there's something here beyond religion. Take religion out of it. Just take the sentences and the words that describe what the fuck was going on. Now, is there evidence for that elsewhere? And he goes, if it was a biblical flood, then, you know, it should scale to I'm going to use the records of the region that I'm in. There's a lot of Native American stories from, not necessarily from that time, but, you know, pass it down through, you know, what's called word of mouth, which, believe it or not, was actually a decent form of record keeping for the time. They really, really stressed making sure that that knowledge wasn't bastardized as they were playing telephone. Really important, because they understood,
which is impressive, because it's not hard to have happen at all.
Yes, and
you could have it happen when you're passing a story between three people, one to another, and it could be not completely different, but changed decently just in three people, in two people, between you and me. I can tell you something, and then you go tell someone something, and it's like, I think that's how it went.
Because for all we know, the first story ever written, the story of, I think it's Gilgamesh, that has to be spoken long before it was written down.
Oh, has to have been.
So, you know, we have a lot of ancient fucking knowledge that we're just ignoring. And like I was saying, the dude Randall Carlson did studies, did find out that a guy named J. Harlan Bretz, who was a geologist back in the 20s when biblical catastrophism was a huge, the new thing, where it was not just a catastrophe. This was a biblical, I'm talking, you know, what is it? That movie, San Andreas, 2012 level shit. You know, that type of stuff happening. And he was all like, no, the Badlands.
Day after tomorrow, all that like that.
The Badlands legit happened from a biblical fucking catastrophe. You have the Canadian ice sheet that sits there, and then, I mean, it was sitting on a 900-foot cliff to begin with. Then you have a literal wall of fucking ice 2 miles high.
Holy shit.
And meteorite's when it hits.
Yes.
The meteor came in and air bursted. So when they air burst, that's usually on the small end the equivalent of the TNT blast of what was it? Fat Man and Little Boy?
Yeah.
So Little Boy. It was the equivalent to Little Boy, which was, I believe, 10 to 15 megatons.
That sounds...
And Fat Man, I want to say, may have been 15 to 20 megatons. So it came in and literally put out the heat of the sun for, you know, maybe a second or two, which last time I checked, ice tends to melt.
Nah.
And ice is not that great of a dam. So when you have all that water just sitting there, it doesn't refreeze.
So just looked it up real quick. Little Boy was 15 kilotons.
Oh, kilotons. Fuck mega, nigga. We going to killa. And so that's a lot. That's a lot of fucking heat and force being generated onto that 2 miles of fucking ice, which then that broke, and it's the Horseshoe Butte in Montana or North Dakota. Well, basically all the water came down off of that straight onto the landmass and then carved out the Badlands.
Okay, so kiloton's a little bit smaller than a megaton.
Oh, is smaller than a mega. Okay.
That's still it's still a lot. Like we're split it at that. That's like saying, a billionaire spends $100 million. It's like, yeah, it's still a lot of fucking money. Like, you're splitting hairs.
Yeah.
Or you have an opportunity at $100 million, but you're going to lose, 20 million of it. You're losing a lot, but you're splitting hairs. It's a lot. So 15 kilotons is still a fuck ton of energy. Like the amount of joules that dissipated.
It flash melted.
So 1 kiloton is a unit of energy equal to 4.184 terajoules.
Holy shit. That's a lot.
So, which is the equivalent of 4.184 times 10 to the 12th joules.
That's so much, they put an equation out. That's a lot of fucking energy. So that's a lot of ice that was melted. And then eventually, it's a sea. It's a fucking sea. Because you got a trip. It's a lot of heat coming out, and it's air bursting. So instead of it hitting and it just, ballooning in that certain area, it's exploding, and that wave is just being dissipated over a lot larger of an area, which is pretty much flat because it's a goddamn. Well, I can't say flat because you look at glaciers now and they're not necessarily flat. They have a lot of
I just got caught up looking at that. That shit's crazy.
Whoa, it is crazy. Yeah. It's super crazy.
That's a lot of energy. Like, even if you don't understand how much a joule of energy is, that's that level of energy when you're talking about 198 or whatever it was to times 10 to the 12th, which means 10 times itself 12 times.
That is a lot.
That's a lot
of fucking energy. That is a lot of energy. And all that came down, and they said essentially for 2 weeks an ocean flowed from that ice cap into the fucking Pacific through the Cascades and all that.
And that's where
dumped out that way.
That's where the flood came from.
And that's where you see the Badlands. That happened in those dunes, those ripples that you get. You only get that from a very, very large body of water, about 400 feet deep.
Holy
miles. It was literally a sea migrated from fucking Canada, from the heights of Canada, miles up, all the way into the Pacific Ocean, which then, and on the ice cores, you could see, and on the all the data that they pulled,
crazy
you could see where the oceans rose, and it correlates when another fucking another fucking meteorite hit just off the southern tip. Like I'd say, if look at the tip of India and go like northeast just a little bit, northeast actually. Okay. And that's about where it's sitting. Massive. Two fucking Indian dudes, I forget what their title was, what ology they were in, but they were like, holy fuck! They were like, that motherfucker is massive as shit, and they were all like, you know what? They dated it, and I think that put it at 13,000 years, and then the other one hit at 11,000. So, hey,
for all of you saying that the Earth is only, was it 4,000 years old? 6,000 years old.
Yeah,
sorry.
It's a lot old.
Sorry.
It's a lot old. We have rocks that are billions of years old in several different places on Earth, not anywhere.
And it's not flat. It's not flat.
Not at all. Not at all.
I saw some stupid ass thing on Reddit. I didn't even get a chance to read it. I got busy, but people homeschooling their kids, and they said that they spent like 2 weeks establishing with their kid, because they were on geography that year, or like that's what they're going to work on, establishing with their kid that the Earth was flat before they opened up and started seeing all these globe type things.
Fucking idiots. Dude, we knew that in antiquity. You could go look up a video from Carl Sagan explaining how they did the math for that. And it's like, and it's a pretty simple experiment that I'm too dumb to fucking remember. But look it up, and it's pretty good.
I mean, on a clear day, just go stand out somewhere, and you can sit where you can see for miles.
Go watch a fucking ship disappear over the horizon. It's not that hard.
Like
You
if
could
you're
literally
along
watch
the
it.
coast, literally go to the beach on a beautiful clear day, like a day like today. Go to the beach and just go stand out there, especially if a boat is going out, and you will see it disappears. Not because it's so far you can't see it, because you can still see it fucking.
Yeah, you will literally see it start to actually dip because it's on the curvature of the earth. But getting back to Scott Peterson, there's a lot of information, a lot of shit that was not put in there. Like when he put him in the bay, they said he dumped the body in the bay. He tied weights, concrete weights to all her limbs, including her head, to weigh her down. And when the defense took that same, not the actual boat, but the same kind of boat out into the bay, and they had someone who was an accomplished fisherman, was all like, no, you're not doing that. The second we get that 100, you're not getting rid of her body by, you kicking her up and over the side. That's the only way you'd be able to do it. And that would be incredibly difficult to even start. You would have to get that body up over. Now, she was like, couldn't have been, we'll put her at between 120 and 150. That's now, and he was a pretty big guy, so now you're about, we're just going to take the 100. We're going to ignore the other pounds within the both of them. That's 200 fucking pounds on one side of the boat. Now let's add his 85 and her, 20.
Yeah, you're
that's
talking about
300 fucking pounds on that one side. Not to mention the 8, 16, fucking
432 pounds.
Yeah, 48.
Five.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
40 pounds.
So yeah, 40 fucking pounds extra to dump over every time they did it. And I think they did it with a guy who was a little bit smaller than Scott. Each time he did it 4 times, the boat tipped over. He was like, so how'd he do that without getting wet? How the fuck did he get his boat back over?
Yeah, because we're not talking about a little fucking plastic kayak. We're talking
about a metal fucking dinghy.
Yeah.
Like, with an outboard motor. It's all like, dude, and then the judge was all like, no, not allowed to use that as evidence. Which would have...
And there's ways you could do it if you counterbalance the other side and stuff like that.
But the amount of time that he had, it's all like, dude.
Unless he had that thing planned out to a T, which he may have.
But then you take...
It's possible. It's not to say that it's impossible. It's possible, but like you were talking about, like now you're getting real, like... If that's the case, then this was planned out for months.
And that's what they were hinting at with the Amber Fry tapes. But I'm like, those are all colloquial terms that we use for the relationship is dead. She's dead to me. I believe I lost my wife. That's, that's shit that you'll say, when the relationship, it's lost, it's gone, it's no longer there. I don't feel that love for her. She's lost to me. That means, and that conversation happened the 9th. She disappeared on the 24th. And why would he do something to disrupt, his Christmas, his mom and dad's Christmases and all that? It's like criminals tend to be like, I'm going to wait, till after. I'm going to use and this is where I'm all like, where he's not out of the clear, or what connection does Scott have to those burglars?
Yeah.
Penny? That's where the cops also fucked up, because there was a burglary.
And it could be a situation where he hired them to burglarize.
And that's where I'm like, if you guys aren't doing your due diligence, but before we get there, you go now to the body, because now we have a body. How did the body get to this state of decomposition? Well, for it to be waterlogged in the bay for as long as it was, they were all like, I don't believe that, the baby was lost due to her smashing up against the rocks, because then the baby would have been consumed the same way her organs were.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so that, and there was twine around the baby's neck and a piece of tape to its face. So it's all like, that is odd, because tape wouldn't stick underwater.
Yeah.
And how did the twine get wrapped around the baby's neck in that fashion? You know, that leads me to believe that shit happened outside of the water. And the baby, what was tied was, the twine was probably tied to another
weight or something.
Yeah, and then the tape was for, you know, to keep the bag on the fucking baby, for all I know, to tape, you know, the covering to it. You know, that leads, you know, that means blood would have been somewhere on his person, on his boat, his car, the house, the warehouse, somewhere there, somewhere along that chain, there would be some type of physical evidence to be found. There was none. You know, and then you have the whole, now you're going into the boat, or the burglary, which which you gotta love kids, which you have, they don't, like, they really, like, I remember this too, shutting a door. I did shut it. What are you talking about? No, grab the knob, turn the knob,
and just close it. No.
Gently. I did. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, nigga. All right, you know, just go. But, you know, now you get to the day of, one of the neighbors said she's seen their dog with the leash on in the front yard, which is normally not something that happens, and Lacey was nowhere to be found. And then the cops are like, when did this happen? She said, with a fairly good chain of events that lead you to believe this chick knows. She purchased something X amount of minutes from the house. I seen this X amount of minutes from when I got back, or around the time I got back from shopping. Let me see the receipt. The receipt says fucking $9.50. It takes you 20 minutes to get home. You know, you were home and you got home a little bit early, and they said around 10:18, she says, about the time that she seen the dog in the yard. And then a bunch of other people are all like, I seen a woman wearing black leggings and like a white schmuck with a dog. That's what the fuck she was wearing. So they have her there alive after Scott left. That's pretty big fucking information.
Yeah.
That was not allowed to be said at the trial. They didn't go and ask any of the people that lived around her any questions, and they all had fucking information. The reports, obviously 10 fucking 15 years later, are starting to go into that. And then you have the lady that called in the burglary. That happened the 24th, the same day she went missing. Then the cops go, they find the fucking burglars. Oh no, we were there the 26th. Okay, I'm just gonna believe you.
Yeah. I'm
not gonna check. I'm not gonna look around. And then one of the reporters for KTVU, he was like, I was there all from like 4 or 5 in the morning the whole day. They were no. And they said they did it a little bit. He goes, they did it when this time that they said they did it. I fucking turned around and looked at him. See, yeah. How you doing? Oh, that's yourself? What are you doing with the safe? Do you know anything about Lacey Peterson, pregnant woman? Oh, nah. So that doesn't scale. Why are the police changing the day in which that burglary took place? That doesn't make any sense. An officer overheard a conversation between 2 inmates, one of the inmates being related to the burglar, saying something, hinting about something going on there at the fucking house, or either the house that they burgled or the neighborhood, and with a woman. Someone said that they had seen, someone in the neighborhood said that they had seen a van parked and them having a discussion, lightweight argument with a woman who looked plump, 8 months fucking pregnant. Hello? Like, what the fuck? Someone else also said they seen a van parked, stopped with a woman with black leggings outside taking a piss. No dog found. The dog's in the front yard. Like, dude. But again, this is what happens when you deal with dumb fucking police who are pieces of shit. And Modesto PD, you're pieces of shit because you literally did not do your job as an investigator and follow up on anything else tied to it. Yep. If I'm a criminal and this nigga's talking to me about a burglary, and the first thing I fucking say is, I had nothing to do with that pregnant woman. You don't know why you're in here.
Yep.
Why the fuck would you say that? Why would you volunteer that? I need to talk. Hold on.
Yep.
Sit here. They didn't do none of that. They just took his fucking word for it. All right, you're going to jail for the burglary. So in my opinion, I need to know the connection between Scott and those burglars. Those burglars, you need to do a little bit more digging because it seems to me like they're the ones who did it.
Like
Where's
it was
this
a hit.
man?
It was a hit.
No, she can't. Well, by all reports, again, white women, do me a favor. Stop fucking jogging at 5 a.m. Should you be able to be safe? Yes, this isn't victim blaming. This is me legit saying it's dangerous. Do not go where the likelihood of you being put in danger is very high. Just because you roll the dice multiple times and it comes up good, it came up good your whole life. You're still putting yourself in the area to get fucked with. I understand that the Tennessee woman was a preschool teacher. Preschool don't last all that long. Get a stroller in which you can jog, put that baby in it, and go jogging where it's bright and people could see you. At night is not a good time to do it. Early in the morning is not a good time to do it. You don't see me doing that. You don't see him doing that. And I can defend myself. I can legit. And yeah, I have been stalked to where I was going to be mugged. And you want to know why I wasn't? One, I was armed with a knife, not a firearm, and I seen it. Instead of
being aware of your surroundings,
because my head's on a swivel, and it's a lot more difficult when you're a woman to do this. And naturally, men are bigger and stronger, so it's going to be a lot harder for you to fight. And no one's around. It's all like, dude, it's a bad recipe. And in that attempted, slight attempted mugging, I came. We have here. This will be. We're walking down the street. I'm coming down the street. He's following. And at this time, I had done a couple moves to be like, yeah, this nigga's following me. So I cut the corner, stood right here. I sped up, cut the corner, and then he sped up. And when he cut the corner, I had my knife out. When he cut the corner, I said, "What's up?" And I let him see it. "What's up? What the fuck you following me for?" And then nigga was like, "Oh," and he took off the other way. It's just like sharks. They're most likely, unless they have, a bigger knife or a gun, they're not going to do it. But at that point, I was so close to that motherfucker,
it didn't matter.
There wasn't shit he could do but back the fuck up. And even then, I was like, and then when he backed up far enough, I made sure to keep the car in between me and him, because if he started blasting, you ain't fucking getting close enough to hit me. But that nigga seen and was like, oh shit, because his demeanor completely changed from being a predator to being like, oh.
Yep.
And if it took for me to do that, if you're timid, it's going to be a lot harder to fucking, and even still, it was kind of a dumb move for me to do that, because again, if he had a fucking firearm, then I would have been forced to fucking get in an altercation where either I was shot, or most definitely, that motherfucker would have been stabbed. Not in the body, it would have been towards places where I'm not playing with you. Like, the fuck? I'm not gonna punch you one time, it's gonna be multiple times. Yeah. My life's at fucking risk, and I like breathing more than I like you breathing. And that shit is not going to happen. Like my dad says.
And not even I like breathing more than I like you. It's more, I like breathing more than I care about you.
Yeah, breathing. It's all like, no, not happening. I will totally do time if it means me living and, or dying. Yeah, you're gone. You're fucking gone. But going back to Lacey Peterson, don't argue with people. If they're committing a crime, your job is to get back, if you can, take a picture of them or their vehicle, and you call the fucking cops. Don't do anything else. If the police are gonna take 20 minutes to get to any active crime scene when shit's going down because they, naturally don't want to fucking put themselves in harm's risk, why are you going to do that? The cavalry, I'm letting you know, in this day and age, is not on its way. And 9 times out of 10, they'll show up and you'll end up shot. These people, they're not, unfortunately...
Yeah, like that situation, what was it, Denver a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, cops are not really good at their job. Shit, in I think it was Southern California, where they're talking, there's a truck pulls up, 2 Mexican dudes get out. They're doing nothing. They're getting out their car and they're headed to their house. The cop has his window down. This nigga legit just pulls his piece, fires 2-3 fucking rounds at them, who have no idea other than, the cops come down the street and they're just doing their thing, not speeding up, not slowing down, not trying to hide. I'm going in the house.
Yeah.
What the fuck? We just pulled up. That's what the hell we were doing, regardless them coming down the street or not. He fires 2 rounds, 3 rounds. They bolt. There's a chick still in the car, and they come out all like, then they announce police. That's a drive-by.
Yeah.
You didn't announce yourself. You just shot first. First off, that's not even what dumbass gang members do. This nigga just shot. Didn't even see an enemy because he's a cop. He just shot. What enemies do you have as a cop?
Yeah.
And don't tell me gangbangers, because gangbangers usually don't shoot at cops, because if that was the case, you'd see a lot more motherfucking cops dead, but you don't. Most of them that do die, it's from traffic or health. Gun violence towards cops is actually really low. Gun violence in America is actually really low. And just, FYI, a mass shooting is 2 or more people involved. So a mass shooting could fucking be anything. Going after gun manufacturers over that, but you're not gonna go after fucking people who make alcohol and cigarettes, or people who are fucking...
Cigarettes especially, the amount of chemicals...
The fentanyl thing. We're gonna go after the gun manufacturers, but we're not gonna go after Purdue. We're not gonna go after Pfizer. I'm just throwing these names out there because those are the only 2 big companies that I know.
Bayer.
Bayer. But I'm not even sure if they're the main manufacturers of OxyContin, oxycodone. Yeah. Those aren't their fucking products. So that goes to whoever the hell that family was that got sued, and they got a fucking slap on the goddamn wrist. It's like, no, you actively knew you were killing people.
Yeah.
That's jail time. How the fuck do I get, if me and him have a criminal organization, I technically never order any single hit, but I have a standing order that if any drug dealers come onto our turf, off top, murder them. But since RICO, I'm gonna get popped for all those fucking murders. But these niggas aren't gonna get popped for fucking all that goddamn dope death. That's bullshit, when they knew that, this market for cancer patients is really small. What if we up it to anybody with pain, knowing that it was addictive, knowing that
not just
at the
addictive,
time that they
highly.
Well, and they knew
addictive.
They expanded when they found out that the pills were being sold, as the people were snorting them in the powder form, and the sales started taking off even more. And that's when the company was like, let's expand to more ailments, through lobbying and all this bullshit, and then more of our medicine will be obviously bought.
Yep.
We could sell more. That's more money. They didn't care. Again, that's why I say you have got to punish businessmen. They don't care. Their bottom line is their pocket, my wallet. If that means you have to die or experience extreme pain, bro,
so be it.
I'm sorry, but I need to make that money, and in all honesty, fuck you. And the sooner poor white people understand that shit, the better we're gonna be.
We've said it numerous times. Hey, poor white people, you're closer to every other group than you are to to those rich white
You're the
people
current-
that you're sitting there fucking idolizing.
You're the current slave class. When they said, oh, I have to treat blacks like equals, oh, okay, instead of them, their thought process was, I'm not going to treat blacks equals to white. I'm going to treat the whites equal to the blacks right now, or circa, pre-Civil War. That way, I have an even bigger pool to fuck over, and it's equal. What are you talking about? It's equal. I'm treating them shitty, and I'm treating them shitty. What are you talking about? And then you have that whole white privilege drive that the government did run, where they were all like, super rich white dude, here goes $1,000. Back when $1,000 was like $1 million. It's like middle class white dude, here goes... piece of shit. Here goes $100, motherfucker. And then poor white dude, there goes 50 cents. Get the fuck away from me.
Yep.
Get away from me. Like, fuck you smell. And it's all like, well, I made you like a lot of money in that coal mine. And again, it's all like, yeah, you made me a lot of money. Now get the fuck down there and do as you're told. No, I'm not gonna upgrade shit. I understand the elevator's given out. I'm not paying for repairs. Take a ladder the rest of the way. Shit like that. It took Teddy Roosevelt and a bunch of other people to punch businessmen in the mouth, at least make it a little bit more livable for the fucking people you're exploiting. And we're still there. We're not any fucking different, any better.
No,
we're still essentially there, where you work super hard and you barely get shit.
The American dream went from you're going to work hard, but you'll be able to succeed, you'll be able to get a house, do all this stuff, to you got to work to live.
Yeah.
You got to work to live.
You shouldn't. I don't need you to own a home. I need you to rent your home from me. They reverted back.
And I need you to make just enough to be able to do it.
They're reverting back to the way it used to be. When the 50s came about, it was all like, no, and this is where they hearkened to make America great again, but you need to understand that was for a very short period of time, and then the powers that be, the rich Democrats, the rich Republicans, were like, no, I don't want poor people of any fucking ilk, any middle class people of any ilk getting educated. Because the second they get educated, you get what the fuck we got. Civil rights. I don't want that shit. I don't want no Negro getting fucking rights. I don't want no woman getting rights. I don't want no poor white dude to fucking understand I'm fucking him over. I don't need no chin to understand that I'm exploiting them. Like, I don't need these Mexicans coming up and understand that, they should be getting paid more. The ones that stay, not the ones that come and do the seasonal work and then would leave. Then
the migrant workers.
Then they were just like, well, out of spite, nah, fuck that. We're not going to do that anymore. And now they're making money hand over fist because they still do the shit. They're just paying them a lot less. And then they're all like, all right, get out of here. They do what they do in Dubai to the poor fucking Indians. Have them come over. Only the Indians
get the Nepalese and the Indians.
They get screwed over even more. At least we're touching, and you could just be like, screw you, and walk somewhere else. The Indians go there literally. You have my passport. I'm living in your apartment. Dorm, we're supposed to be getting paid bi-weekly. I've been working for you for 3 months. I haven't seen a paycheck in forever. I come home, week 2 when I'm supposed to get my first check. Hey, what the fuck? Someone was in here. Hey man, what's missing? Just my passport. What's just my passport? How the fuck are we supposed to leave?
Yep.
Call the cops and shit. You are in a whole other country, a whole other religion. They're like, I'll look for it, and then just walk off, even if you get to talk to them. So these dudes are literally just slave labor. They work them till they starve to death, and then it's like, get out of here. Derogatory name for an Indian? I don't know any. You street shitter. I don't know.
I'm at a loss.
Dothead? That used to be one, but that's so fucking lazy.
That is
it's
super
describing
lazy.
Somebody like, come here. This is what you say. Go use it. No, I don't know any derogatory names for Indians. They're not. I mean, they're taking over in droves now, but I don't got no problems with them.
Interesting.
I don't know them. I mean, I know there are. We got some for everybody.
No, there definitely is. Like,
We'd have to ask an Englishman.
That's
or someone from Dubai.
Yeah.
Or the African woman that got... so in Kuwait, you have, obviously, if you're from a poor country, you're going to go to a richer country and try and make some bread.
I mean, that's what happens here.
Yeah, you have an African maid. She must have been a maid or something. I don't know how the fuck she ended up outside.
Oh, yeah. It was the video that we saw last week when we were talking about.
Oh, yeah, we did show that.
No, we didn't show it, but we talked about it.
Yeah, and she fell 7 stories to her death, and that chick just literally...
recorded the whole thing.
That type
like she was
shit.
hanging there, and she walks up with the camera, and is looking over, and then backs away. Meanwhile, she's sitting there hanging for dear life.
And then let's go.
No attempt to grab her hand to try and pull her in. Nothing. Just and then when she falls and hits the ground, she just puts her camera out and
look at watch her fall. Look her hit. It's like that type of shit. We really got to grow the fuck up, because that's old world shit. Remember, we used to go as a culture collectively. All of mankind used to do this. There's going to be an execution. Let's go.
Yeah.
And make a day out of it. Motherfucker.
Bring the kids. Bring the kids.
And I mean, back in the day, especially in England, they were not nice in how they murdered people. So to legit be like, oh yeah, this is gonna be awesome. We're pretty fucked up, and I'm tired of hearing, how could they do this? They were such and such. But so, what the fuck does that mean? What does that have to do with anything? Oh, they were priests. How could they rape? Well, they're human first, and priest is just a fucking title that you think is...
That means something.
Yeah, I mean, it means something, but not what you think it fucking means. It means I'm in a club that you're not, and I'm allowed to get away with shit that you're not allowed to get away with, unfortunately. And that plays into the Scott Peterson thing, where I believe that you are guilty, so you're guilty. And it's like, no, that's not how our judicial system works. You find the fucking evidence, then you lock that motherfucker away. Because if he ain't the killer, that means the killers are out there roaming free. I don't like shit work being done. I'm not allowed to do shitty work. He's not allowed to do shitty work. If you're a cop, I don't give a fuck how hard your job is. You're not allowed to do shitty work. Which, again, brings me back. I watched another little thing on YouTube talking about 3 Mile Island and how that fucked us. Well, I gotta get going anyway before I get yelled at for being gone too long. On a day of labor. This day of labor. But, they fucked up. It was a massive PR fuck up. What happened was a valve didn't shut that was supposed to shut. Nobody caught it. A bunch of the safety features did what they were supposed to do, but there was a problem. Then you have control rods that automatically start soaking up all the neutrinos, which kills the motherfucking the reaction that's going on. So the heat isn't being generated. All of it's done. You're just having the radioactive, chemical compounds that get created in the process, in the interacting with the metals and the concrete and everything associated with, the reactor core. And you have a bunch of that shit building up. You have, hydrogen building up. That's not good. Hydrogen,
a little combustible.
Yeah. So, you gotta make sure that doesn't happen. And when that mixes with oxygen, you got a big fucking problem. But if you add one more... No. I think they added H3. You already have one hydrogen and... you have one hydrogen and one oxygen floating around there. So when they bond, that's like, you can make a fucking pretty explosive fucking gas. But you add H3 in there, and then the chemical process happens, and now you're stuck with fucking what? H2O, water. So it'll just eat a bunch of the steam, and the explosive gas just gets turned into water, and that bubble gets smaller. And what really fucked it was no communication, and one of the technicians, for whatever reason, let loose a bunch of fucking radioactive steam, which was it radioactive? Yes. Was it deadly to humans? No. Was it deadly to anything in the surrounding area? No, because it's the same amount of levels that are given off by concrete countertop, your fucking granite countertop.
Well, and that's the thing.
It wasn't that much.
Like, we interact with radioactivity
all the time.
daily.
Yeah, we're getting bombarded with cosmic radiation as we speak. And when I say cosmic, I mean intergalactic. Some of that shit is making its way through. Where neutrinos are passing through us. Or not neutrinos. Not neurons. We have those. Fucking whatever. Shit's passing through us from the sun all the time. It just doesn't. There's a lot of space in between atoms. Technically, we're solid,
but we're not.
But when we're not, it's the electrical bonds that are keeping shit, together and giving the sensation of fucking physical,
of solidity,
touch. Yes, and so that bubble went up, and I think it was like zinc and some other thing that one has a half-life of like fucking 10 days, and the other had a half-life of like 10 years, 15 years. So it was like, and it was at levels that our bodies just don't even absorb.
Yeah.
And iodine is another one. So just remember this: if there's ever going to be a nuclear, event, anything with high levels of radiation, and they hand out iodine tablets, do not fucking take it until you're told. The way our body works is our spleen or whatever handles that has a cap for iodine. So if we take that in, it'll cap out and it won't absorb any from the radiation. It'll just take it in and kick it out. The problem is when we take it in and we store it in that area, that's where we get fucked. So remember that. That's how you operate off of that. But we gotta go because this our camera's dying, and you gotta go and invade some places, and that's what we're gonna do. Name the toilet. Nah. McDonald's. I'm hungry.
Plus, we've been going for our longest one, so
yeah.
We'll catch you guys next week. Later.
Yeah, if you're on YouTube, just literally just punch words in the thing.
Hey, just comment random ass shit.
That's what they need. And hit like.
Yeah, like, subscribe, follow, all that shit.
Wings. Or an incel gets laid.
I think the angel getting its wings is more likely.
It's more plausible, yeah. I totally concur.
All right, later.
Deuces.